Hi, I'm Ben here with Vendor 96, Dale, in his classic plastic booth here at Pinky's on Comstock Park and Alpine. He also has a record booth at Wally's Treasures and Wally's Castle. Dale, why do you love records?
Well, I've always had them. It goes back to the 70s when I first started collecting. I started out with vinyl in the form of 45 RPM records. That's what was prevalent at the time. But as soon as I found out that albums were out there and I could explore the group that I liked a lot more, and I just started buying records in the form of albums. Kind of quit the 45s, and
now we have this big collection behind you. How many records do you have at home in your personal collection?
that's a tough call. It's somewhere in the 7,000-8,000 realm.
Nice.
I find that I don't play them near as much anymore. I'm starting to go through and bring some of them in just to share with others who might like that same band
and enjoy that experience, because unfortunately when CDs came out in the 90s, bands would start cutting back. Back when you bought a record, it was a full experience. You had the artwork of the cover, you had the lyrics of the song. You wouldn't have to go to Google to figure them out. And it was almost like a concert experience in your home. Do you agree to that?
Oh, certainly.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's tough to pick up a 4x4-inch CD and enjoy the album art part of it.
Awesome.
Where a lot of times you get an album with a gatefold. I can pick one up here real quick, and it just would open up, and then you got an experience here, and all kinds of information inside.
Pictures.
Quite likely you got the lyrics on the inside of one of them, but this is something you can live with. You can enjoy and
Visual experience along with the audio.
How do you have your records sorted out here at your booth today?
Well, I put them in alphabetical order so that anybody coming in can, if they're looking for a specific title, they can go right to it. It's set up old school, like a record store. I even have them chronological by how they came out. That's more for my benefit than theirs. Most people wouldn't care about that, but it helps me identify if something's sold, if it's out of order or whatever. I'll return it to that order. I like to be able to come in. I replenish the booth a couple times a week, and the way I'm able to tell what's sold is by going through them and noticing what's missing. So they're in here not only in alphabetical order, but also chronological. People can come in, and I've got them all there by letter, and you can find what you're looking for within a very short period of time.
Awesome. Can you show us a few things that they should be looking for?
Well, I'll start out with a few things that you're not going to want. Damage to the cover. This indicates here that it has gotten wet. This has been in somebody's basement. It's torn the cover. This is not something I want to have in the booth. It drags down the overall quality. I would not have anything like this in the booth. You see anything from water damage to just records that weren't taken care of. Maybe they're torn, they're destroyed. Here you can see that this being a gatefold, but at some point it was stuck together because it got wet. You see traces of mold here. That's something you don't want.
And the reason for mold is if you have a moldy album and you put it with your other one, mold can transfer.
Oh yeah.
So it's like you don't want to get a couple bad, moldy, cheap albums and put them in with your good stuff, because that could transfer over and then you could lose other albums and covers.
I've gone into other people's places and you can smell the mold. I mean, that's an indication right there. You probably don't want to shop that particular place, but yeah, I'll screen all that out. I don't want anything like that in here.
You take pride in your collection and what you sell, is that correct?
I do.
Awesome.
I don't want somebody coming in and finding something and say, why does he even have this in here? And I won't say that an album or two doesn't get past me. There's 1,500 albums right here, but I clean them. If I can improve them in any way, and before going in, and that may be just taking a cloth to them, cleaning the record, making it look decent.
Awesome.
And then put plastic on them, make them look nice, protect them from fingerprints. Keeps the quality up.
Okay. Dale, what else should we be looking for when we're out there record hunting?
Well, not often will you find a warped record. Hopefully you won't find any of them in one of my booths. Try to screen them out, but here's an example of a record that, boy, it looks nice, but even holding it up like that, you can see it's bowed. A record like that is not going to play.
Looks like a dinner plate from this angle.
But needle will go about 3/4 of the way around, and it'll get to that warp, and it'll jump several notches, and So you'll want to look at that. It's usually just as simple as holding it up like that. You can see that's not.
I could see it from here, yep.
Yeah. So, again, not often, but yeah, if you're a new collector, that's something you want to keep an eye out for. Always take the record out and have a look at it. Don't necessarily handle it.
Handle it from the sides, you would recommend?
Yeah, you reach your fingers to the label.
Okay.
Hold it like that. You don't get the prints on there. Anytime you're touching it, you're transferring grease from your hand, and then dirt sticks to it.
So besides being warped, you also want to check to make sure it's not heavily scratched, right?
Yeah, certainly.
Both of them would affect the quality of play on your turntable.
Certainly there's a difference in a deep scratch that somebody had done something intentionally, or your 6-year-old got a hold of it and didn't understand the value of it, go scraping it. Surface scratching usually isn't a bad thing, but anything that you can feel.
Great thing about Dale's record, like you mentioned earlier, he has them alphabetical and chronological. So if you're coming in and thinking, you know what, I need a Rush record today, you go right over to the R's. I already got it standing up here. You can go right to what you want to find. So if you need your fix of Rush, they're right here. Dale, who's the greatest drummer ever?
Oh, that would be Mr. Peart.
That's right, Neil Peart. Besides the albums themselves, which are a great listen to, a lot of them would have inserts or great artwork on the cover that makes great display pieces for your wall. A lot of them can be framed. It helps with the experience of the album when you can actually hold it in your hand and see some of this artwork that was put into it. It wasn't like today where someone just pumped out a song. It was a full experience the band wanted to explain and have you experience with their music they were releasing.
I want to thank Dale for visiting with us today out here at Pinky's Place. Dale has Vendor 96 classic plastic here. Besides here, you can check his booth out at Wally's Treasures on 28th Street and at Wally's Castle on Clyde Park. Dale, favorite album?
Duffy, I'd have to go with Kansas Leftoverture. Pretty
Good
much
album.
changed my listening life. They turned me on to a style of music that I was not listening to at the time, basically a hard rocker when that came out. And as much as they had the hard rock, it brought in so much in the way of keyboard and vocal that just wasn't out there before that I had heard.
Awesome. Dale, what would you say are the 3 most popular records that you sell?
Well, boy, Hotel California would certainly be in there. Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Beatles, just about any Beatles album would certainly qualify. So those would be the 3.
Awesome. Thanks for visiting with us today. If you have any record questions, let me know. I can direct them to Dale. Very knowledgeable guy. He's got always quality products, sorted alphabetical and chronological. Check him out at all 3 stops here in Greater Grand Rapids.